Flanny friends. Today we're going to be talking about the latest DC movie, Shazam Fury of the Gods, which I believe is the last DC movie before The Flash is going to mess everything up, and we get James Gunn's new DC slate, which I guess we'll see how that goes, but for now let's take a look at the orphan with god powers, Shazam. I'm going to do a spoiler-free review this time, as the movie is just coming out, but if you guys like this and want to see my thoughts in more detail, just let me know and I can always do a deeper dive for you guys. One thing I do want to touch on that I personally thought was good for this movie was the fact that they addressed that, a few years have passed since the last one. The Shazam family are obviously older, and at this point in time, Billy is close to aging out of the system. And I sort of like that because it gives his character a bit more to worry about on a personal side, besides just the Daughters of Atlas and all the god drama. First off, I just want to discuss something that I'm not a fan of when it comes to the Shazam movies, which is the fact that Billy is much more adult and more serious than his adult counterpart. Granted, I am coming from this at this from the perspective of someone who hasn't consumed a lot of Shazam material and have mainly only seen him in a few animated series. But in those series, it seemed like Billy and Shazam were both very much the same person. Here, there always feels like a disconnect between Billy and Shazam, as Billy seems the adult while Shazam seems more like a kid. Which is a shame because I do think the actor who plays Billy does a really good job of conveying himself on screen, and does well with emotions when the scenes call for it. My only real problem is there's not too much of Billy in this movie, as we mainly get the focus on Shazam, which, yeah, of course, it is his movie, but personally, I do like a glimpse behind the cape every now and then. Which is why I really do enjoy the scenes of the Shazam family hanging out in their lair. It sort of gives me the feelings of the Avengers hanging out in Stark Tower before everything goes to hell and back. I enjoy their chemistry and the way they work off each other, and honestly, I wouldn't mind if more superhero movies did something like this. Focus a movie on the hero, obviously, but allow us to see some of their more human side and issues as well. I really think that is why so many people seem to enjoy the Spider-Man, is because we do get a much better blend of that hero and civilian life. Now then, we oddly can't really talk about Shazam without looking into Freddie Freeman. He was a standout character in the first one, and his screen time is definitely a lot more in this one. So if you enjoyed his performance and character in the first one, you're really going to enjoy the focus they put on him in this one. Though it does come at the cost of less Billy and Shazam screen time, so if you weren't a fan of Freddie, my condolences. I also really feel that the same statement goes towards the humor of the movie. I enjoyed the lighter tone of Shazam and felt the comedy was deserved for a character like Billy Batson and the Shazam series. Also, it just serves to make it far more distinct from the darker and more depressing DC movies. Now that being said, they do double down on the comedy in this one, so if you are not a fan of the comedy in the previous one, this movie definitely isn't going to be for you. There are a few moments in there where I do wish they had gone with a more serious tone, as I felt the jokes just undercut the tension. But personally, if I had to choose between something that has little humor or too much, I'd probably lean more towards the humor than less. I like to enjoy my movies, and while this wasn't the best movie, I did end up enjoying it. Let's now take a look at the Daughters of Atlas, our big bads for this movie. As someone who loves Greek mythology, I'm all for movies about stuff like this, and I love the imagery and design of these characters, as well as the monsters that they sort of summon. I just really enjoy seeing things like a Manticore and Cyclops on screen. Now, while obviously not a one-for-one recreation from the myths, I did enjoy them for the most part. You've currently got the three sisters, Anthea, Calypso, and Hespera. While initially Hespera takes the lead in this, you do get the power dynamic between her and Calypso. The actress who plays Hespera does a really good job of bringing the character to life, and honestly meshes well playing off Shazam. Anthea is sweet and plays her role well, though it is kind of creepy when you stop to think she is thousands of years old and is dating a child. A magically empowered child who turns into adult, but still very much a child. Finally, you have Calypso, which sadly to me is the blandest of the lot, which is a bit of a shame considering she is the motivating factor in a lot of the events that unfold on screen. I guess it is sort of fitting in a way. She is sort of the middle child, and they are usually the forgotten ones, just sad to see it play out on screen. The last thing that I want to take a moment to talk about is the ending. I'm not going to spoil too much, save for the fact that for some reason, they decided to include the ending in a trailer, which I don't get at all. If you've seen it, you've seen Wonder Woman is in it, but it's right at the ending, which undercuts the climax a little because for one, it sets up a heavy and emotional scene and then immediately undoes it for comedy and laughs. And it's one of the scenes where I wish they had gone about it more serious. Also, the trailer shows scenes that clearly haven't happened yet, so at that point in the ending, you sort of already know what's going to happen because, well, the trailers just spoil it for you. Which, just why? Why do movies do that? It's one of the reasons I tend not to watch too many trailers anymore, because just too much of the movie ends up getting revealed by them. Either way, my final thoughts on Shazam are this. If you like the first one, you're probably going to really enjoy the second one. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it definitely could have been tightened up in areas with more focus on Shazam, and also could have done with a few less jokes and key scenes. I've heard that James Gunn is wanting to keep the actor who plays Shazam attached to DC movies going forward, so who really knows what that's going to mean for Shazam or what all that will entail. While I'm excited to see new life given to the DC, as I'm just not a fan of the super dark tone that they had previously, I'm also not really happy about them cutting Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, and Ben Affleck, when I thought that each of them did a wonderful job with the roles and the scripts they were given. So, justice for the big three. That's all I have for now, Flenny friends. Just a quick review, just to touch base with you guys. But what do you guys think about the upheaval at DC and the changes that are coming forward with the new James Gunn universe? Are you going to see the new Shazam? Leave a comment below and let me know. And also let me know if you guys want to see a more in-depth spoiler review. As always, if you've enjoyed this, please consider liking and subscribing, as they both really help my small channel to grow. Either way, I'll catch you next time, Flanny friends. Bye!